Hey guys, it's MandaPanda and welcome to another custom My Little Pony tutorial. Today, Applejack is getting a superhero makeover and we are going to be transforming her into Wonder Woman, who, in my opinion, is the coolest superhero out there. Who's your favorite? That's mine. I'm starting off, as always, by prepping the pony for customization. I popped the head out of the neck plug, cut off the majority of her hair, and now I'm going in with my small scissors and cutting her hair all the way down to the scalp. And that step is super important because it makes it so much easier to pull the hair roots out in a little bit. But first, I'm just going to use my X-Acto knife and cut out the neck plug, pull it out with my pliers, reach in there, and now I'm going to pull out all of those hair roots and glue. And the shorter the hair is, the easier it is to pull out. So let's just get all this hair out and get her ready for some new hair in a little bit. For the tail, I'm just going to cut off the majority of it and then use the end of my small scissors to push the rest of the tail into the pony's body. Just like that. Now I'm really quickly going to use my pliers to help me reattach that neck plug to the top of this body, so that way I don't accidentally lose it because I do need it later on. I'm going to grab a little bit of acetone, remove the cutie mark, and then remove a little bit of Applejack's original eyes. I'm going to get rid of her eyebrow, her eyelashes, and then a bit of the bottom and a bit of the top, because I'm going to be shaping Wonder Woman's eyes a little bit differently than Applejack's original ones. So I'm going to be using Americana acrylic paint in the color Flesh Tone to paint the entire body and the entire head. I like to run the end of a paintbrush through the pony's body. It's a little hack I use to make painting the entire body a lot easier. So I'm going to have to do 3 coats, maybe even 4 coats of the acrylic paint on this because it is such a light color. I want to make sure that it is nice and even all over. And I like to put the head right at the end of my pliers. Again, it makes it really simple to paint the entire head without messing up the paint job. That flesh color has completely dried. Now it's time to start working on Wonder Woman's eyes. Using some white acrylic paint, I'm going to shape out her new eye. I'm going to make them large and almond shaped. That's 3 coats of white paint. Now I'm going in with a really pretty bright blue to draw in her eyes. And then I'm going to go in with the same blue, but I've added a little bit of white to make it a little bit lighter. And I'm just going to give the eye a little dimension with some lighter shades of blue. I also outlined the top of Wonder Woman's eye off camera because it is so hard to do that really tiny line work when you're on camera. I've popped in her black and now I'm going to give her one little light reflection in the corner of her eye. I'm going to cover the entire head with 2 layers of this varnish, let it completely dry, set all my work, and then go in for her little headband, which I'm going to be making out of Sugru. I've used it so many times before. It is air dry rubber. I really prefer it over air dry clay because it doesn't shrink and it still remains a little bit rubbery once it's completely set, so I can still go in and shape it even once it has dried. So I kind of roughly created this shape with my fingers and I'm going to smooth it right onto the pony's forehead like this. And I'm going to make sure that I really smooth the bottom half because I want to make sure that that little headband is attached securely to her forehead. I don't want it to fall off later. Now I'm using one of my clay tools and I'm just going in and really defining the shape of her headband. I'm putting a deep V right in the front. I'm going to let the Sugru completely dry and then I'm going to use an X-Acto knife to cut in the V at the top of her little headband. And once the shape is there, I'm going to go in with some gold acrylic paint and paint in the entire headband with 3 coats of really pretty the gold paint. The gold has completely dried and the headband looks so awesome. It's just missing the red star right in the front. I created one using some nail polish and a nail stamping plate, and I'm going to attach it right at the front of her headband using a very thin layer of clear nail polish. I'm gonna attach my little nail polish sticker here. And if you don't know what nail stamping is, I will find a YouTube video and link it in the description box down below. Now, all of the head is completely done. She's just missing her new hair. For her hair, I picked out this deep shade of black from dollyhair.com. This is called Black Magic. I've cut it into strands that are 1/4 the original length, and I'm going to be using my rerouting tool from dollyhair.com to reroute the pony. It is basically a pronged needle, and I like to wrap the hair gently around my finger and then catch it at the end of that needle like I just showed you on camera. It is sharp, so you kind of just decide what hole you want that hair plug to go in, press in firmly, and just like that, that hair will root itself inside of the head. And you're just going to repeat that process over and over again until Wonder Woman has a new head of gorgeous jet black hair. I love Wonder Woman. She is my favorite superhero, so I'm so excited to go and see the new movie that's coming out. I'm gonna go see it on Friday. Who's your favorite superhero? Let me know down in the comments below. Once all of the hair plugs are in, you're going to need to secure them, because if you don't, the hair could fall out when you're playing with your pony, and you don't want that to happen because it's going to take you at least an hour to put all of that new hair in. I'm going to be using my hot glue gun, and I'm just going to pour some hot glue directly inside of the head, and once it sets and cools, it is going to completely secure all that hair from the inside. The head's all done. Let's finish the body. I've used a little bit of nail striping tape, and I've kind of mapped out where I want her little cuffs to be on her arms, and I'm going to go in with some gold first. I know that her cuffs are silver, but the silver acrylic paint that I have is really light, and I don't think it would show up that well on this really light colored flesh tone. So what I did was I put down gold first and then silver on top to give it like a really cool antique-y vibe. I like the way that it came out. I'm gonna seal the pony with 2 layers of varnish, and then we can get started with the Sugru. So you actually have 2 options here. You can either paint on her clothes using acrylic paint, or you could make it 3D using Sugru or air dry clay. Now I personally prefer Sugru, and I think that this is gonna look really cool with a 3D clothing little suit, so I'm going to be using Sugru today. Starting off with some blue for her little briefs. I'm putting a little strip around her waist, 1 in between her legs, and then 2 small pieces on her flanks. And then I'm going to use my fingers to really smooth out all of this Sugru and make it look like one solid piece. And this is gonna look so awesome. I can already tell it's gonna be so cool. I'm so excited to see the end result. Now again, I'm just using my clay tool, and I'm gonna redefine the waist area, and I'm going to give her a cut in the legs to make it look like she's wearing some little superhero briefs. If you want your custom to have a tail, you can give it one. Now, I personally do want my Wonder Woman to have a tail, so while the Sugru is still wet, I'm going to take the end of my nail dotting tool, and I'm going to press in the tail hole that was there earlier, so that way I can put the new tail in later. But if you don't want her to have one, you don't have to do that step. If there's some extra Sugru on the pony's body, you can use a little bit of alcohol to gently wipe it off. That's why you have to put the varnish before you put the Sugru, because it could potentially stain your paint. Now I'm going in with the red Sugru, and I'm going to give her her little top. I'm going to wrap it around the waist, another one right in between the legs, and then I'm going to join them all together to make it one solid cohesive piece. And then using my little clay tool again, I'm going to cut away the excess, giving Wonder Woman a really cute sweetheart shape right in the front and deep cuts down in the side to mimic her little sleeveless bustier. And I'm going to cut this all away because I did all of that work while the Sugru was still wet. I'm taking whatever extra red I had and wrapping it around her back legs for her boots. And then I'm going to cut away the excess. The boots have a little point right at the top, and then it goes down more into like a shoe. So that's kind of what I'm going to try and recreate on the pony. Now I'm using some gold acrylic paint and drawing on her belt. And you can see I have marked off my area using some nail striping tape, and while the paint is still wet, I'm going to gently pull all of it off, and it should leave a nice crisp line. Now I'm switching over to silver acrylic paint, and I'm going to draw a line straight down the middle and then outline the top of her boots. And you can really tell here how light this paint is, which is exactly why I had to put the gold first for her little cuffs, because you can see here this paint is so thin. It is really hard to work with. Definitely not my favorite. Now I'm gonna go and put in the stars on Wonder Woman's little pants here. I again used a nail stamping tool to make my own little tiny decals of small stars, and I'm attaching them to the pony with a layer of clear nail polish, and those look so awesome. You could always hand draw these onto the pony if you didn't want to mess with the nail decals. You can always just use some acrylic paint and draw them on. This custom is almost done, but it's missing the most important part, the iconic Wonder Woman logo that's right at the front of her top. Now I've gone ahead and I printed out a really teeny tiny logo from the internet. I just printed it out on regular old white paper, and I'm mounting it onto some black Sugru, and I'm just going to cut it out. And I chose black because I really want the logo to pop at the front of the shirt, and if it's outlined in black, it's gonna look really good, or at least I think it's gonna look really good. So let's cut off all this excess Sugru and mount it right to the front. And again, Sugru is air dry rubber, and once it dries, it actually attaches itself to whatever you put it on. So just by firmly pressing that black Sugru backing onto the red, it is going to completely stay there. It's not going to fall off. You don't have to glue it on later on. Using some gold acrylic paint, I'm just filling in her logo, and then I'm going to re-outline it using some black acrylic paint, and I'm also going to re-outline the edges with black, and that logo looks awesome. It looks so good. I just love the way it came out. The final step is her tail. I'm going to be using white Gorilla Glue, which I prefer over the regular one, because when the white Gorilla Glue dries, it puffs up and really secures whatever you're gluing. So I'm just going to pour some directly inside of the pony's body, and then I've put some right at the tip here of this bunch of hair that I have just twist tied together really tightly using a twist tie, and I'm going to press that into the tail hole using the end of my nail dotting tool. And once that glue dries, that tail will completely be secure. It will not fall out. Now I'm going to put a little bit of Gorilla Glue around the neck plug, reattach the head. Let's take a look at the completed custom. Here is Wonder Woman pony. She looks so awesome. Looks like she is ready to go into battle. I even had some leftover Sugru from her headband, so I rolled it out and then wrapped it around my finger to make it look like a little rope hanging off her belt. It is so awesome. I think this is probably my second favorite custom pony I've ever made. She looks so cool. I hope that you have enjoyed this tutorial and that it helps you make your own Wonder Woman pony. If you do make one, I'd love to see a picture of it, so send me one on Instagram or Facebook. Thank you so much for watching, little pandas. Until next time, bye! You can follow me online to get the latest news and updates. Like my Facebook page, facebook.com/MandaPanda Toy Collector, or follow me on Instagram at MandaPanda Toy Collector. Want to mail me something? Guess what? You can. Mail it to MandaPanda, P.O. Box 2855, Humble, Texas 77347.